Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And in this 10-minute moan, we look at two things. We look at the fact that the SNP have already started hiding things despite this new start, fresh start, which obviously didn't include transparency. And another thing, which is Shona Robinson's absolutely fantastic excuse for yet another cover up. Right, this is great. Right, so just before I start, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member. You could subscribe, which is free, or if you want to do me a favour, just click the thumbs up button when you see a video. It does great things for the reach. So, John Swinney, I'm making this video in Wednesday morning. He's due to be sworn in as First Minister later on at some point today in the Court of Session. So he's not even been sworn in yet, right? And he promised that this is a new, fresh start SNP we're looking at. You know, they're nothing to do with the grubby one over there that are getting investigated heavily on numerous fronts. This is a squeaky clean SNP, right? Now, what I forgot to tell us is, right, there was a new report due out which was going to explain the financial position of Scotland after the budget. And I'd imagine it would show us quite clearly if these new tax bans, etc., were a success or a failure. Okay? And it's been postponed. And we've not got a date on when we're going to get sight of these reports on the finances of Scotland after the SNP's budget. We're just told that it'll be delayed. So it's delayed indefinitely, right? Now, they've been accused of a cover-up. They've been accused of fiscal ineptitude. Hold on, maybe your laptop's not working great. There we go. And let me just get the details right. John Swinney's been accused of continuing the SNP government's habit of cover-up and fiscal ineptitude as his administration paused the publication of crucial tax documents. The new First Minister was blamed for burying bad news due to the delay in publishing the tax and fiscal strategies. The analysis included economic forecasts which would shed light on whether Hamza Yousaf was right to hike up income tax once again to fill the 1.5 billion black hole that we've got in our finances. Rivals have claimed it would cause rich taxpayers to leave the country for lower taxed England, which, with fiscal drag, also utilised to push more middle-class Scots like teachers and cops in to pay more to the state. Now, Finance Secretary Shona Robinson confirmed on Tuesday, that's yesterday, that these documents would be delayed indefinitely due to the change of First Minister. This is where you need to concentrate, right? Because this is one of those things that they throw out. People go, well, okay, I get that. That sounds justifiable until you actually look at what they are claiming. So, these reports have been delayed indefinitely due to change of First Minister, right? The government's medium-term strategy was meant to be published on May the 30th, as well as a draft tax strategy and infrastructure investment plan annual report. Right? Now, what we're led to believe is that that's going to take some time, so that the new First Minister can get his feet under the table, as they suggest, and do the sort of work just to get these things finished. Right? I call bollocks on that. And the reason I'm calling bollocks on that is read and listen to what I'm saying. This report was due to be published on May the 30th. So if they're going to, go public with all these things on May the 30th, which was a Tuesday, by the way, you kind of think that by about May the 29th, maybe, they'd have everything ready to go, right? All sorted. They would have had planned how to release it, plans how to try and spin it. Everything would have been done by at least May the 29th. Hamza didn't resign till May the 29th, right? So you're kind of thinking everything must have been done. But we'll now delay these things indefinitely. a document that was due to come out on May the 30th. These people are insane. But I'll tell you who's even more insane. The people that believe these people. They're even more crackers. Because this is just nonsense, right? So if Hamza was going to go to work in 2019, he had no plan, as we're led to believe, to resign, then you would imagine he would have had all the work done, or at least, or at most, 1 day's work left to do on this, whatever he has to do, before this document was to be published and made public on the following day, the 30th. So why would John Swinney just finish that? If it's not already finished. I am not swallowing it. Now these will all be pushed back until Mr. Swinney gets his legs under the table, leading to stark criticism from opposition parties. Quite rightly so. Scottish Tory Shadow Finance Secretary Liz Smith said John Swinney has barely got his feet under the table and he's blocking scrutiny of the SNP's damaging tax policy. I kind of agree with that to some extent, but when we don't know what the report says, that's quite a big claim from Liz Smith. Maybe she knows what's in the report. I certainly don't. But for her to say that, it's maybe just a wee bit of a wildish claim. But she does have a point that SNP seem to be blocking scrutiny yet again. We already know that the ever-widening tax gap between Scotland and the rest of the UK is deterring key workers from coming to or staying in Scotland. The British Medical Association and the British Dental Association have said so, as has virtually every business organisation in Scotland. But SNP ministers continue to bury their heads in the sand and deny reality. Now, this document may or may not back up her claims. I don't know. But I ain't swallowing the reasons for it not coming out. Just as he did throughout the Nicola Sturgeon years as a faithful deputy, John Swinney's first instinct is to bury bad news, cover up and evade accountability at all costs. The Scottish Fiscal Commission was also instructed to pause their forecasts about tax due to this delay, with updated capital spending plans also left in the back burner. These are quite important things, right? Now, this Scottish Fiscal Commission, they were instructed to pause their forecasts. Now, again, if the documents were ready to go out on the 30th, they must be pretty, if not complete, 99.9% complete. So, what are you doing? Finance spokesman Michael Mara said the public must have confidence that the government is spending their money wisely. But under SNP, Scotland's public finances have spiralled yet further out of control. It's clearer than ever the SNP government has no grip on the public finances. Now, here, I'll tell you what's going to happen, right? But you'll be able to work this out yourself because you're no daft, right? See, whenever they get to release them and the figures are not good, right? Because if they were good, they'd be out, right? Let's just call a spade a spade. If these figures were good, Swinney, he's desperate to give us good news, right? Look at me, shiny new leader, SNP or fantabulous. Here's some good news. So if these things were good news, we'd know about them already. We wouldn't be delaying them. We wouldn't be delaying them indefinitely. We'd be telling the public to try and show, here's this new, improved SNP. So I think it's good using common sense and logic. It's fair to assume that they're any good. So, tell you what, we'll delay them. We'll not even tell you when they're coming out. We'll just put them out when we feel like it. Scotland's businesses deserve clarity and support, but all they get from the SNP is more chaos and incompetence. It's no wonder that we are staring down a 1.9 billion black hole in public finances by 2028-29 due to SNP's incompetence. Scotland cannot afford any more SNP financial management and waste. We need an election now. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Totally agree with you there, buddy. Right? They are nonsense. The SNP, this is the SNP that demand democracy of everybody. Right? We've already heard people in Holyrood, some of the leaders, quote SNP when the Tories in Westminster were changing leaders and getting new prime ministers, and they were demanding democracy. We must have an election now because this you can't have a party pick who's the leader, right? And then they've done it twice in 13 months. But they've been democracy off everybody else. They demand another referendum because they say it's democratic. But they change the goalposts and that all the time. Remember Nicola saying if we get 50% of the Westminster votes at the next Scottish votes at Westminster in the next Westminster election, that'll give us a mandate for another referendum or indeed independence. She was wanting a de facto referendum, right? That was the first we heard of this. And the rules were 50% plus. So we had to get 50% plus one vote, and then we go, right, Scotland says we want independence because look at all the people that voted SNP. Then Humza came along and that changed, and Humza went, nah, we'll make it if we get the most of the seats. Right? Now, you could get the majority of seats at Westminster with about 30 to 40% of the votes, depending on where and when the votes were made, right? So he's saying that's a mandate for... No, it's not, because you can have more than half the seats without anywhere near half the votes. So that was what he said. Now, I'm dying to hear where Swinney is going to go with this, because it keeps just, we'll just keep lowering the bar. What's he going to say? If we get 2 seats at Westminster, that gives us a mandate for another referendum. You guys have killed independence for the nationalists, right? You've ruined it for them because you don't know how to achieve it. But you'll cling on to power in the hope that you've still got enough of your cult followers, the ones that don't actually consider common sense and logic and truth and things like that. Those ones that just vote, I'm voting SNP because freedom. See that mob, right? That's all you're going to have soon, because every day I see more and more people who are normal people who just fancy independence going, I can't believe I voted SNP for so long. They are crackers, right? So you're losing normal, level-headed people who just fancied independence every day. And see, when the penny drops, it'll be too late. Too late for you. It's already too late for these people who wanted independence and seen you as a vehicle. See, the sensible, normal ones that can kind of see through your bluster. A certain amount of respect and empathy for these people. There you are, Craig Houston empathy with nationalists. That's a surprise. But I do. Because when you buy a dream and you have a dream and a notion and somebody comes along and said, I can give you that, I can make that a reality, you will automatically be magneted to them and you'll want to grasp everything that they say. And it doesn't matter if they tell you the sky's green and the grass is blue. First instinct will be to believe that. Then through time, they let you down, you start seeing the truth, and you start seeing behind the bullshit. And believe me, those numbers of people that are doing that daily are massive. And today we have another example of your nonsense. You delayed a report that was due out on the 30th. You can't do it. Don't know when you'll be able to do it because of getting a new First Minister. But the last one only resigned on the 29th. So you kind of think everything's ready to go. So stop talking nonsense. If you'd liked this video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you've not already done so, but most importantly of all, unless you're John Swinney, Shona Robinson, or what remains of the SNP cult, everybody else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.